And today on the Heavens Metal Vodcast, we're going to talk HM Magazine. We're going to go through an old issue. But first, we have a commercial for the Heavens Metal AirPods. That's right. You can buy these and you can listen to Christian heavy metal on your own iPods. Actually, this is false advertising. We don't have Heavens Metal AirPods, but we do have Heavens Metal stickers. There's like a sticker sheet sold at the HM Press store where there's like a 4x6 sheet of several different stickers. This is one of them. Fits kind of nicely on this small little case, so I can keep from somebody ripping me off or saying that's their AirPods, you know. So I say, no, that's mine, it's got my sticker. So check out this episode. All right. I'm gonna try to attempt the impossible and go over issue number 111 without going overtime. And Anne Berlin, Never Take Friendship Personal. Right now in 2025, they're having a big 20th anniversary tour for this album. I'm actually going to go see it this Friday in Austin, Texas, y'all. Looking forward to that. Thorn Clothing. It's cool to have the Mark Solomon's book. If you haven't read Simplicity, you need to. It's a riot. There's so much fun stuff in here. It also kind of shares about what was in his head and in his heart as he was going through the end of the Crucified and beginning of Stavesacre. It's funny, this headline, for everyone who doesn't fit the mold, that makes me think that, oh, this is a book for underdogs, and this is a book for people who don't fit in. And I didn't really get that from reading this. I guess there might be a theme in there about how, you know, Mark wasn't one to fit the mold, but he's an awfully cool dude, awfully great frontman, lyricist, and vocalist. Mono versus Stereo, this band, The Showdown, wasn't supposed to be doing metal like this in the Christian music industry at this time. Metal wasn't cool, and they just defied the odds and proved to us that, yeah, metal is cool, dude. And Comeback Kid, it's kind of cool that Victory Records did an ad, but they would have done the ad if we put this band on the cover or not, because the album had come out during this time frame. I guess this was the January-February issue. And there's a letter from the managing editor, David Allen. He's basically talking about he's going to be leaving now after being here for the past couple of years. He went on to teach himself how to do tattoo art, and he's great. He's in demand. Here's a letter to the editor where I apologize for an ad from a mainstream record label that had Bury Your Dead in it. And I kind of explained how all that happened. And I said, but I did not blame me. Please forgive us. And just more independent record label ads and Bloodline Calligraphy. We started doing HM Magazine release parties here in Austin clubs every couple of months. Here's a cool interview about Dallas Taylor, written by Bethany Johnson, an independent freelance journalist. And she's just sitting down with Dallas Taylor and kind of informing us about his new band, Maylene and the Sons of Disaster, who carries on to this day. He describes the band music as redneck music. He's never had this much fun playing music. Man, I love that first Maylene album, and the second one is really good too. We had a critic named Matt Morrow who was criticizing HM back in the day for kind of not giving metal its due coverage in Christian heavy metal. And so one of our staff, the great, brilliant Jason Dodd, went to Matt Morrow and basically said, you know, if you can't beat them, join them. And he invited Matt Morrow to be a part of the solution. And we gave him his own column in HM to talk about what was going on in metal today. This was a column that David Allen brought to us from like the guy who was a roadie for POD named Judah. Here's a live report from The Showdown. Again, they rip your face off with their metal. Had twin guitar players, really excellent music. We had a section in the HM called Heavens Metal where we talked about things that were going on. Check this out. Frank Marino Mahogany Rush released a double live album, which is primo. King's X did Live All Over the Place, finally a live album. The Trans-Siberian Orchestra, Lost Christmas Eve. And Kansas Sail On, the 30th anniversary collection. It included some of the Elefante years and also included a DVD of some live footage. I need to go back and listen to that. I haven't watched that DVD in ages. Look at these little short-haired guys in The Showdown. They were on the cover not too long after this. I think issue number 123, Symphony in Peril. Speaking of Symphony in Peril, check out this centerfold poster. We had this band in the centerfold. Viva Voce was an incredible band as a husband and wife team. Really good, heavy, intense, artistic, very unique sound. They don't sound like Fleming and John at all, but it is a husband and wife team. You could compare them to the White Stripes in that sense, but she sang, Anita sang, and Kevin played guitar, or did he play drums? Anyway, I don't have time. I gotta keep flipping through here and show you what's going on here in this issue. Woven Hand. Here's an article written by a really cool freelance writer from Dallas, and he's talking about David Eugene Edwards, who Woven Hand was kind of his solo project after 16 Horsepower, in addition to 16 Horsepower, and he talks about how he wrote his lyrics to himself. And this dude is like a preacher from the 1800s that was just taken out of in a time capsule and put into the 21st century as a musician that just killed it. We had a Pillar tour journal. We sponsored a tour that Pillar went on, and their bass player, who's an avid weightlifter now, shared with us his tour diaries. Lots of cool. And look at David Allen wearing a sombrero. So look at some of the staff picks from this year. Matt Morrow, look at this. We're all talking about, Dearly Departed, Five Iron Frenzy, and Buddy Miller, and U2. And he comes in with Antestor, Sanctum, Sympathy, Frost Harder, and Veni Domina. Great stuff. Johnny Cash here. And Judas Eagle said, none of the music I purchased or listened to this year falls within the required guidelines. At first I laughed when I read that here after 20-something years, because I thought, well, maybe nothing was good enough. But it was us talking about stuff that's sold in Christian retail. Bradley Hathaway, we were so glad to hear his stand-up and slam poetry stuff. GHS Strings. So Brian Quincy Newcomb, who passed away last year, a great writer. He was like the Christian music's, what's the dude's name? The dude from Cream Magazine. Anyway, I'll think about it in a second. Lester Bangs. He's like the Christian music industry's Lester Bangs. Fantastic writer. And he's interviewing Anne Boleyn and kind of giving them major props with a major feature. Because right around this time, they started just releasing some killer music. There's that centerfold. I just love doing splashes of spilled ink like it looks like an accident. Here's an article on Showbread, which was... not to be confused with the Showdown, but Showbread was kind of like Alice Cooper meets the White Stripes meets, I don't know who else. They were very creative. So here's the Comeback Kid cover story. I love David Allen's. Almost looks like an accident layout. It's just splashing color and shapes and stuff and dirt in your face. Sideways photo instead of straight up. Taking Back Sunday says this was a live filmed on video interview that the InterVarsity Press filmed. I think that's online somewhere. I don't know if I've ever seen it, but this was an interesting interview. The one guy in the band grew up Jehovah's Witness, and when he was 16 and given the chance to make his own choice and make his own path, he's like, goodbye everybody, peace out. And one of the other guys said, I could comment here, but I don't want to offend everybody. And so it's a really interesting interview. John Thompson did we had a thing called Intermission, where we deviated from music for a second for one page and talk about something. Usually it was kind of spiritual. And John talked about earning an audience, which is a really cool. I love this. Brace Yourself for the Mediocre, Roper's album. Me Without You, Catch for Us the Foxes, big follow-up. I think from Brother Sister, Viva Voce. We rated that a 3 and a 4. Rock and Roll Worship Circus, He Is Legend, Across 5 Aprils. Roper, 1,000 Foot Crutch. Dennis and Mars, The Showdown. There's a lot of really good music. Woven Hand. Neil Morse was just starting his solo career around this time. Derek Webb was pre-freaking out. He was really offering biting lyrics. U2, How to Dismantle an Atomic Bomb. I think that might be my favorite U2 album. Let's see what we ranked it here. 3.5. Dang, I would give that a 5 now if I had to go back and because that stood the test of time for me, baby. Switchfoot live album, Reliant K. The Saved movie. They had sent me contracts to include HM Magazine stuff as part of their set. Macaulay Culkin, the guy in the wheelchair in this movie, was going to be he was an avid Christian heavy metal head or an avid Christian rocker, and he was going to be reading HM Magazine in the movie. I sent him posters and stuff. None of that showed up in the movie. I was very disappointed. This movie asked a lot of good questions. There's a really cool review that some dude wrote. I don't know what his name is. There's a Mark Joseph book. This guy is a great writer and has a really cool insight into Christians in the mainstream and Christian doing stuff. Kemper Crab had changed his column, I think, around this time from the Sons of Issachar, part 45. I think he did that for more than 10 years, and he switched topics and headlines, started talking about worship. And a couple of columnists, Chris Wigeman and Greg Tucker, who are great dudes. The Mint is a cool band, the Kirby from Austin, getting their starts there as independent bands. Here's an article. I'd love to just read the whole thing on camera, but it would take too long. But it's hard music history, and talked about what happened when King's X came upon the scene and changed the face of music. Man, they really did it for a lot of us, I'll tell you what. Here's the HM iced tea glasses. We gave away a couple hundred of those at the Gospel Music Association GMA Week convention. And we had to use the phrase iced tea glasses instead of pint glasses so we wouldn't get in trouble. But that's what the catalog actually said they were, was iced tea glasses. So we pointed that out if anybody ever had any. I love the fact that we had gear ads in the magazine. I think it brought a level of legitimacy, and it says a lot to these gear companies that they want to reach our audience. And here's Apologetics. They were advertising almost every issue. Very, very talented people. Not everybody's cup of tea, as Weird Al Yankovic is not everyone's cup of tea, but they do a brilliant job of parody. And it was really cool also to get like book publishers to advertise. And look at this artwork that David Allen drew. He did like pen and ink. Look at the amazing detail that he drew with his hands. And a great quote. A wise man fights to win, but he is twice a fool who has no plan for possible defeat. All right, join the discussion, everybody. I did go over time. It's a crazy long 11+ minute video. Hope you don't hate me. And check out the commercial for Rockstars on God.
Rockstars on God!